Today I'm going to talk about how I make an art journal page. Now, this is different from an altered book or even my illustrated journal because this is just where I play and make stuff and, as you can see, mainly make a mess. But if you'd like to get some ideas, join me, won't you? I start off an art journal page with a base layer of collage of mix and match scraps. These are left over from other projects, and I just tear them into random shapes and keep them in a basket. You can use text from any book pages, sheet music, maps, junk mail, anything. I don't really think about where each piece goes. Rather, I just glue them down at will until the page is covered. This will make a base that is interesting to the eye with depth and texture. It also makes your page stronger as it's going to take a lot of glue and painting. For adhesive, I use acrylic gel medium, but you can also use PVA, craft glue, Mod Podge, or whatever you have on hand. Now I'm going to glue these down. This is my completed base layer of scrippy scraps. And again, very free form, not thought out. Before I go on to add focal points, I want to soften this up a little bit. Later in the process, we're going to add color. So right now, I'm going to just use some gesso. And what I'm looking for is just to soften up some of the edges, especially where the pieces connect and it's very jarring. I'm also going to go over here where that's a little bit more color than I'm going to want later in this piece. So I'm going to bring that down as well. And not thinking about this, not overthinking it, just adding for some softness to the edges. I'm going to put some here in the middle as well to pull that middle section together a little bit. And there we have a happy, scruffy mess to put our pieces on. Now it's time to add the next layer of stuff. And I'm going to go to my trusty scrap box. This is not the fancy, sexy 18th century stuff that I use in my altered books. These are literally scrap. At this point with going with images, I'm still not overthinking this. It's still loose because later on in the process, we will be drawing all the elements together. This is not the time to try to micromanage the finished look. Stay with me and we're going to talk a little bit more about composition ideas and elements. I did decide that I wanted to use this. And this is just a little bit of grass. It's black and white. And, it's actually like a newsprint. And then, okay, so we could use that. That's pretty dramatic and fun. I am thinking about adding a bee because I like the way that it picks up these flowers and this garden scene. And look at this. I'm going to go with a different bee because he's got more the same color as this newsprint here. And I like the way that this is one style, this is one style, and this is another style, But thematically, they do hold together, but they're completely different styles. So that makes it hold together, but also gives it a lot of whimsy. Okay, so got to start on this side. Let's look over here at some of the ideas I have. I like them. I like the way he's looking off the page, but I don't really think the blue goes with the Goldie. Nope. That's closer because the blue goes with this blue and then the brown goes with this brown. So I would really consider that. And again, she's got an expression going outwards. I have these bees that I printed up from another project. And I think that even though we're already kind of insect heavy here, I'm going to rough tear this. And then just add, I don't know, maybe even, yeah, let's do a little bit more. So I'm just going to tuck this in somewhere, and it's going to be a little bit more background rather than a focal point. And I might put that over there. I don't know yet. Wow, that kind of looks good. I like these flowers. I haven't even fussy cut them very well. They're just kind of cut out haphazardly. I think that looks good. But I'm not sure it's not too much marigold. So I'm going to cut them. And if I do like them together, I can reassemble them, or I could put them at different places on the page to again complement each other and pull the layout together. Finally, I was very much looking at something like that. I like to use arches in my art journal. And this would also pick up this trait, so that would hold that image together. And I'm also considering this one, this postcard that's got the, which is not much as a postcard, but I love this door going into some mystery place. Maybe. Okay, here is the next level that I've decided on. I did add the grassy part, the postcard with a portal, a little bit of the bees. I made those a little bit more narrow, and I put it up here and just a smidgen here so that it goes throughout the piece as an embellishment. And I've only gone with one orange flower. I'm not sure yet about the companion flower, because the next thing I'm going to do is add some mark making before I add any more images. Oh, I also want to mention that normally in, let's say, an altered book, I probably would not put anything in the middle of the binding because it's going to tear and break and look wonky. But this is my art journal, so I can do whatever I want. Now, this is a water-soluble graphite pencil. This is by Caran. And what I'm going to do is go around anything that's got a border. I'm going to go around it with this pencil. And then after that, I'll show you what we're going to do with it. Now I want to activate the edges here of the graphite. So I'm going to take a thin brush, and you can activate it with water, but I'm going to do something. I'm going to actually activate it with some gesso. And look what happens. It gets kind of gray and ghostly and messy and charming. And I'm just going to go out and paint with that a little bit. And take that on up there and give us a border. And go ahead and work into the other pieces. Part of what this is meant to do is pull it together. Okay, now I have finished with that gesso and water-soluble pencil layer. You can see that it makes a lot of itself. It becomes a little bit painterly, very messy. So be bold. Now we're ready for the next layer. And I went back to my scrap box to see where we're going with this. I found these guys and I really like this a lot. I like this because, and I thought about maybe here because of the door, like an arch, but I don't know what he's looking at here. So I'm going to bring this back where he's maybe looking at the floor and the door, or maybe not. I found this. I also really like that a lot. Again, it's all different styles, but slightly the same thematically. So the mind wants to make a pattern here. And I am thinking, thinking about that. What do you think? Or it could go over here and be an aspect of the door. I also found this guy, I'm not kidding, and it's a big bloom with a big bee. Now, I am thinking about this, but if I do use this, it's too much for the page. So I'm just gonna, if I do use this, I'm gonna trim it and make it smaller. So let's go. And I did go with the angels after all. I was getting a little bit bee heavy. I thought we could use something on this side, and that was just it's just too loud. So I found this in the scrap box, just a little bloom, and I'm going to put it down here just to bring the eye down. Look asymmetrical from this. So now let me point out a couple of things that I did here when you weren't looking. One of the reasons I never used these angels in an altered book project is that they were kind of cut up in the wrong place there. But that's okay, this is my art journal. So what I did was, where their halos were cut off on either side, I took my water-soluble pencil and I just drew them in. Look over here, I completed this guy in the field. It's not too realistic. It's more of a suggestion that just gives continuity and, again, a little whimsy. And I'm going to go activate this with the gesso and come back and we will add some color. Now, I think I've pretty much finished with my collage-y parts, with my elements. I'm pretty happy with this. But I want to add some more interest to the page, some more wild messiness by adding some color and some mark making. Oh, by the way, I'd like to, let's talk about this guy. I really love doors, but the postcard was getting a little bit, it just looked too stuck on. So I took the water-soluble pencil and I outlined all of the architectural elements, like here, the window, the portal itself. And then again, I worked into it with a gesso and a brush and some gesso, and just played around with it. And now you can see that it really blends into the page, as if almost as if it had been painted there rather than just stuck there. Now I want to add some color, and I don't know if you know this, but soft pastels are actually water soluble. So I got my scrap pastel bucket here, and I wanted a yellow that wasn't too lemony, not too orange, and I came up with this kind of goldenrod-y one. And I'm just going to go around here in spots and add some color. I am not really thinking about it. Although, actually, you know what? I think I will bring this line right on down. We need something on this side, don't we? Yes, we do. Let's see. Add a little bit of a shadow there. And here, I'm not even going to activate that with water. I'm going to keep this way soft by just blending it with my finger. In fact, I don't know, maybe we should do that here as well. Yeah. Okay. I also know that I'm going to make a border around this page. Really makes the layout hold together. And I am using a thick, chunky graphite stick. These are by Derwent. They are also water soluble. But I am going to just smudge like crazy instead of activating this, okay? Right. I added a little bit of a royal blue here, again, to kind of complete this image, which was a fragment. And then I thought I would add a little bit of royal blue here, again, to suggest a completeness. And then I thought, well, I need a little blue on this side. So I just added a little bit of blue to the smudgy portal. The truth is, I will probably keep working on this for several days, to just, for the fun of it, just to play into it, add mystery and interest. But basically, that's how I make an art journal page. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, ask me a question, and until next time, happy trails.